Have you ever been right there, right on the edge of a huge win? A promotion, a breakthrough on a project, maybe even a new relationship? And then, out of nowhere, you do something that just blows it all up. It's a super frustrating thing that we all seem to do. Well, today we're going to dive into the neuroscience of why we are programmed to tear down our own success.
It's a total paradox, isn't it? Why would we work so hard for something only to be the one who knocks it all over right at the finish line? It feels like we're plotting against ourselves. But here's the thing, it's not bad luck. It's not a character flaw. Turns out, it's just biology. Okay, let's get right into it. The reason we self-sabotage is actually a super old, deeply rooted survival mechanism. Your brain literally has a system built into it designed to keep your life safe, stable, and, most importantly, predictable.
The fancy term for this is behavioral homeostasis, but think of it like the thermostat in your house, right? You set it to a comfortable temperature, and if things get too hot or too cold, the system kicks on to get it right back where you like it. Your brain does the exact same thing with your feelings, your success, and even your level of happiness. Now, this is the really critical part to understand, the why. Your brain did not evolve to make you successful. It evolved to keep you alive. And for millions of years, survival meant sticking with what's familiar because the unknown could get you killed. Pushing for success, becoming more visible, changing your identity, all of that costs a ton of metabolic energy. And from your brain's ancient point of view, it's incredibly risky. Its default setting is just to conserve fuel and stick to the path it already knows.
So let's peel back the curtain and look at the ancient hardware that's actually running this whole program, the thing that's keeping you locked inside that comfort zone.
Deep inside your brain, there's this little almond-shaped thing called the amygdala. You can think of it as your own personal threat radar. It evolved for one simple reason, to detect things that could physically harm you, like a predator rustling in the bushes, and to trigger an instant, automatic survival response. But here's the problem. Your amygdala is, well, it's not very smart. It really can't tell the difference between the physical threat of a saber-toothed tiger and the social threat of, say, a promotion that makes you more visible to your coworkers. So when you step too far outside your comfort zone, it can trigger what we call an amygdala hijack. Your emotional brain literally yanks the controls away from your rational brain, and it starts treating success like it's a life-or-death situation. And this whole process is so predictable, the scientists can actually model it like an engineering system. So first, your amygdala reacts to what's called the present error. That's that immediate spike of anxiety when you get too successful. Then, your self-image, which is built on all your past errors and failures, decides just how low your comfort set point is. And finally, your brain runs constant future predictions, inventing all these worst-case scenarios to make sure you never ever stray from that set point again. It's a perfect, self-contained loop designed to keep you small.
And get this isn't just a feeling. The cost to your brain is very real. Research has shown that the fear of social rejection, the very thing your brain is trying to avoid when you succeed, can cause an immediate drop in your measurable IQ by as much as 25%. Your brain is literally shutting down its smart parts to force you back into hiding. It's wild.
So we've got this biological thermostat working against us. But wait, there's more. There's another layer on top of all that, a psychological barrier that literally stops us from feeling too good.
Psychologist Gay Hendricks calls it the upper limit problem. Just like the image shows, we all have this invisible ceiling for how much happiness, success, and love we're actually comfortable with. The moment things start going too well and we hit that ceiling, bang, our brain hits the self-sabotage button to pull us right back down to that familiar, normal level of feeling okay. Now, Hendricks breaks down our work into 4 zones. We've all been in the zone of incompetence and the zone of competence. But the most dangerous place on this whole chart, it's the zone of excellence. This is where you're really good at what you do, people reward you for it, it's comfortable, it pays the bills, but it's a golden cage. It feels great, but it stops you from taking that terrifying leap into your zone of genius, the thing you and only you are put on this earth to do. And why? Because that leap would absolutely shatter your upper limit. Does any of this sound a little too familiar? You land a huge new client, and that night you start a stupid fight with your partner over nothing. You finally get that big promotion, and you immediately tell everyone you just got lucky. You have a massive presentation coming up, and suddenly you get a horrible cold. These aren't coincidences. These are classic symptoms of your brain manufacturing a problem to distract you from the danger of too much good stuff happening at once. So it's pretty clear the war is happening inside our own heads. But, as if that wasn't enough, there's also a battle raging outside of us, a social pressure that actively tries to keep us from growing too tall.
It's called tall poppy syndrome. The idea is simple. If you imagine a field of poppies, the one that grows taller than all the rest gets its head chopped off to be level with everyone else. It's a brutal but perfect metaphor for how society often tries to pull its highest achievers right back down to earth. And don't think for a second this is just some niche cultural thing. It is a deeply human tendency, and you can find it all over the world. In Japan, the saying is, the nail that sticks up gets hammered down. In the Netherlands, it's don't put your head above ground level. It's basically society enforcing the exact same biological comfort zone on a massive scale.
So why do we do this to each other? Well, the data's pretty clear. A recent study found that the #1 driver, by a long shot, is just plain old jealousy and envy. We're talking over 83%. Someone sees another person's success, it makes them feel bad about themselves, and they react by trying to knock that person down a peg.
And the damage this does is devastating. Look at these numbers. A majority of people who experience this end up with lower self-esteem and start deliberately downplaying their own wins. And almost half, nearly 1 out of every 2 people, have actually left a job because of it. All that external pressure just reinforces that little voice in your head that's already screaming, "See, I told you standing out was dangerous."
Okay, so we have a biological thermostat, a psychological happiness ceiling, and social pressure, all trying to keep us small. I know, it sounds pretty bleak. But here's the amazing part. The same science that explains the problem also gives us the solution. So what if you could actually hack your own reality?
Back in the 60s, a plastic surgeon named Dr. Maxwell Maltz noticed something really weird. He'd fix a patient's physical scar, but they'd often still feel scarred on the inside. He realized our brain and nervous system act like a goal-striving machine. He called it a servo mechanism. The best way to think about it is like a self-guided torpedo. It automatically steers itself toward whatever target you give it.
And here's the key. This guidance system is totally impersonal. It doesn't care if the target you set is good for you or bad for you. If you feed it a positive self-image and a clear goal, it becomes your automatic success mechanism. But if you feed it a negative self-image, a deep-seated belief that you're unworthy or just not good enough, it becomes an automatic failure mechanism. It will steer you toward failure every single time because its only job is to maintain consistency with who you believe you are.
And this quote right here, this is the hack. This is the whole game. Your nervous system, the thing controlling that torpedo, literally cannot tell the difference between a real experience and an experience you vividly imagine. This is precisely why things like visualization work. When you repeatedly and vividly imagine a new reality, you are physically building new roads, new neural pathways in your brain that your internal guidance system can then lock onto as its new target.
Now, this is not an overnight fix. I know we've all heard that 21 days to form a habit myth. But the real science, the clinical research, shows that on average, it takes about 66 days of consistent practice for a new behavior or a new identity to go from feeling hard and clunky to being smooth and automatic. You're literally building new brain tissue, and that takes time.
So I want to leave you with this one final thought. We are all wired to feel that anxiety, that discomfort, that fear when we start to grow, and we interpret it as a warning sign, a signal to stop, to go back to what's safe. But what if we've been reading the signal all wrong? What if that feeling isn't a stop sign at all? What if it's the biological proof, the physical evidence that you are right on track and you're finally starting to grow?